either the council chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments should be limited to the issues and cannot involve individuals or the staff-related matters. Also, we would like to have all the cell phones and the electronic devices used for communication to be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I will now call the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Governments Council meeting to order Wednesday, April 16, 2025. We will have an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. John Amity. John.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, Lord, and we ask that Holy Spirit would come to us with wisdom as we make decisions, tough decisions for the good of the good earth, Terrebonne Parish, Lord. We ask, Lord, that our behavior would be one of unification, Lord, on the issues so that we can do the things that are necessary to bring this parish forward. And Father, I ask, as always, that your favor and blessings would be on all the citizens of this parish. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Alicia, could you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Hamner, Mr. Babin, Ms. Chauvin, Mr. Trusclair, Mr. Pleasure, Mr. Harding, Mr. Voisin. Mr. Chairman, you have quorum present.
Thank you very much. Approved minutes of the regular council session held on March 12th, 2025. Moved by Mr. Babin. Second by Mr. Hamady. Any lights? Members, vote your machine. Kim.
I'm sorry.
The vote is 9-0. Motion passes. We've actually distributed the minutes for the regular council session held on March 26, 2025. Next thing, we have to approve the accounts payable bills listed for 3/31/2025, 4/7/2025, 4/14/2025. Moved by Mr. Babin, second by Mr. Pleasure. Any lights? Members, vote your machine. Motion passed, 8-0. General business, proclamation. In recognition of the Fair Housing Month, Mr. Babin.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. It's a pleasure to read this tonight. Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government in recognition of Fair Housing Month. Whereas on April 11th, 1968, Lyndon B. Johnson signed an expansion to the Civil Rights Act, part of which became known as the Fair Housing Act. And whereas this act prohibits discrimination concerning the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, religion, national origin, sex, handicap, and family status. And whereas the Louisiana Open Housing Act, Louisiana Revised Statutes 51:2601-2614, also prohibits discrimination on housing because of race or color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or handicap. And whereas Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government wishes to increase public awareness and knowledge regarding both the Fair Housing Act and Louisiana Open Housing Act. Whereas in 2015, Fair Housing Month, which takes place in April, focuses on emphasizing the act in action to emphasize public awareness of rights, highlighted enforcement efforts, and create diverse and inclusive communities. And now therefore be it resolved by the Terrebonne Parish Terrebonne Parish Council on behalf of Parish President Jason W. Bergeron and the entire Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government that April 2025 be declared Fair Housing Month, signed by Parish President Jason Bergeron, Council Chairman Carl Harding, and endorsed by the entire Parish Council. Is there someone here tonight to?
Okay, well, just take it. Take it off.
Well, he might have two.
I tell you what, just give me the ones you have done already. And, yeah, go from there. Be easier for you.
Only that, they can distribute to the right person. They can distribute to the right person.
Now,
My name is Shalita Woods, 816 3rd Street, Morgan City, Louisiana, 70380. We want to thank you guys for recognizing Fair Housing Month. It is a part of our profession, but we always reiterate that it is indeed the law. Fair housing is 1 month recognized out the year, but we do it every day of the year. So we just want to thank you, and we appreciate the proclamation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any comments? Thank you, David, very much. Item 1B, commendation congratulating the 2025 medalists and contestants that represented Lewis Miller Terrebonne Career Technical High School in the Skills USA Louisiana State competition. Mr. Pleasure.
thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to recognize a group of students here in Terrebonne Parish for their extraordinary work and what they do. We as a parish, we want our students to make choices for themselves, whether it be military, college, or technical skills. But the most important thing is we want our students, those of you that are here and those that might be in the viewing public out there, we want you to come back home. Once you learn these skills, if you go off to college, military, we're encouraging you guys to come back home and be able to help us grow this parish and bring it into into the future. So with that, the Louisiana Skills USA State Championship Conference was held in New Orleans, Louisiana on March 26, 2025 through March 28, 2025. Lewis Miller Technical Career and Technical High School participated in the state championship. The students competed for medals and prizes in their various individual skills. The students who participated from the school won a total of 25 medals. Now, these students are on their way to Atlanta, Georgia to compete on the national level. We want our students to be rewarded for their professional work in their respective trade areas. And I can't stress it enough. I started it was called Voltec back then. I started there as well. And here I am today. And I'm encouraging you guys to seek and go for all the goals that you are set out to do. Most importantly, it shows right here that we got some great young folks here in Terrebonne Parish. So with that being said, as I call your name, if you're here, I'd ask that you come up, and I guess we'll get our parish president to, he'll hand these out, and however you want to do it, Jason. They're in alphabetical order. So, yeah, however you want to do it. Okay. Students that received gold medals are as follows: Alexander Cementes, Colby Norhano, Logan Leeret, Logan Glenn, Coben Trosclair, Javen Fitch, Andy Carrere, Andrew Seal, Olivia Nakan, Jacob Fungi, Cole Duplantis, Jace Portier, and our silver medal recipients were Alana Vidrin, Emmanuel Olascago, Colby Boswell, Mile Odemo, Kaylee Pierre, Kendall Fluwilling. Our bronze medal recipients are Maverick Savoy, Austin Bunch, Clinton Holmes, Dylan Landry, Allie Clark, Tiffany McLeah, Cole Ache, and the state officers are Cole Duplantis, Alex Prestenbach, Alexander Cementes. Our teachers are Ethan Kelly, Doug Walling, Kevin Oncal, Philip Fungi, Kevin Este, Mika Johnson, Aaron Blank, Oliver Herbert Abear, Don Buffington, David Raffaray, Tammy Arsenault, Renee Leclerc, Carlin Landry, Chelsea Berg, Renee Duplantis, and this one here, it's very special. It's very, very special. This is for Remy Hanneman, whom we lost during this event. And here to accept that is Miss Judy, his mother. And I ask that we have, after we applaud, I ask that we have a moment of silence for Remy. Thank you. I guess everyone could look straight ahead. Oh, you got it already? All right, good deal. All righty. Thank you, guys. We need
Mr.
someone.
Simmons? Mr. Simmons?
Where's he at? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where's he at? Oh, okay. I'd ask Mr. Simmons to come up and speak for the most notable work that he does at Lewis Miller.
We'd like to take this time to thank the Parish Council and also our president, Mr. Jason Badgeron, for inviting our students here to receive this award. Outstanding award that they will receive in their lifetime. This is the start. So on behalf of our school and the Terrebonne Parish School District, we'd like to thank you guys. We will be competing for national in Atlanta, Georgia, and I want to name this competition Journey. We're going to do this for Remy. And I want all my kids to know that we're going to do this for Mr. Remy Hanneman. And I want everyone to win a gold medal for the state of Louisiana. Thank you, guys. And this is Miss Johnson. She's the president of our Skills USA state of Louisiana. She's also the state of Louisiana's president for Skills USA too. I want to allow her to talk to you.
I'd just like to say thank you. These kids work really hard all year long. Some come back a second time. Jace Porche, he's our second year gold medal winner. And Mr. Remy started the welding sculpture. We had never competed in that before. And this year they had almost 30 people competing in that area, 12 of which came from our school. So I just want to thank you all and thanks for acknowledging them so that we can have skilled workers in our community.
One moment, please. One moment, please. One moment. You finished, Mr. Babin?
Yeah. I just want to thank all of you outstanding students for what you've done and the teachers. We have to have teachers in our lives. My wife's a 30-year retired school teacher, okay? So I know how hard you guys put out, and thank the parents for the support that they give to these children, okay? As Mr. Pledger said earlier, some people go to college, some people go in the military, some people go to technical school. We need all to make a community, all right? So thank you very much for what you do, for your accomplishments, and give your mom and dad a hug tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Trusclair?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is kind of a little presentation I do every time we have some of our young people from the parish. They come up here for different awards and presentations. With the world of negativity that we live in, this is a positive thing. And it's great to see it coming from the younger generations from school coming up. We need more of this. And these kids, I'm not saying kids, but these young men and women, they need to get this reinforcement more and more. We don't get enough reinforcements. When you look at it on TV, you look at the news, you look at whatever president, it's all about the shootings and the drugs and everything else. You open the newspapers, it's the same thing. You don't never see this event will be buried in a corner somewhere as in an article. It ought to be the headlines. The drugs and everything else should be in the corner. So congratulations to you guys. Look, y'all did a great job. I think this is the second time that I know of that we brought some of these award winners up. We didn't have nearly this many last time. So that's a good sign on the school, the administration, that y'all doing a great job with these kids. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wazan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a two-year VOTEC participant in high school, 3 hours a day for 2 years. I took nautical science. So this really resonates with me because I have fond memories of that. It really educated me in a lot of ways that I wouldn't have been. I congratulate y'all and for the work y'all do. Thank y'all so much. And all you students, excellent job, and I promise you, you're gonna take this education forward in life, and you're gonna see where it's really gonna help you. It's really gonna help you. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. Pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And like I've already said and stated before, I really do encourage you guys. I'll give you guys an example. If you stay steadfast on what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing, you can achieve the world. I started, like I said, nautical science like Mr. Voisin did. Captain Bazeron was that guy for me at the time, and Mr. Smith. And they're the reason that during Desert Storm, Desert Shield, I was at the helm when the first sorties went into Iraq. And I came from home in Louisiana doing that. So guys, listen, you can achieve whatever you want. And one last thing is, this is very special to me as well because my mother, she teaches there. And I'm gonna say this here today. Mr. Simmons, let me have her back now. But she loves it. She continues to do it. I know what she goes through. I know what you guys go through from an administrative standpoint to get these young adults ready to go. I was thankful that you guys offered up an opportunity for me to come out and share at HL Bourgeois when you guys did that. And I'm here to tell everybody here in Terrebonne Parish, especially our parish president, we got something going on over there at Votech, man. So with that being said, God bless you guys, and I wish you bring home all gold medals.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Mr. Trustclair.
And I apologize for putting my light on a second time. I want to mention earlier, and I forgot, it slipped my mind. Coben Trosclair happens to be my nephew. And also, this is being televised by HTV. HTV is one of the, local TV, it is our local TV station, and they highlight a lot of, all the positive activities in Terrebonne Parish. So it is being televised. And so you guys watch TV, you get to see yourself on TV. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Hammer.
Hey, Pee Wee, you're not going away just yet.
Now you-
Yeah. I wasn't going to say anything because my fellow council members tend to run the clock on me when I start to talk. But I want to first extend my congratulations to all the students that participated in this. You know, you're very deserving. Yeah, as a 33-year veteran of the Terrebonne Parish school system and 5 years on the school board, I know the hard work and dedication that you guys put into that. I also want to thank the parents for supporting their kids. Very important to have that parental involvement. But I wanted to just give accolades also to the, and it's about the kids, but I want to give the accolades to the teachers that are all here tonight. Thank you guys for what you do for these kids. And for Pee Wee or Mr. Simmons and and Ms. Johnson, thank you. I know what kind of hard work y'all are doing to make these kids successful. And I, for one, truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
One more. Mr. Bezra.
Yeah, Clyde beat me to it, just commending the administrators and teachers that helps make this happen and their dedication and their service. We greatly appreciate it. And I just want to make sure these young people know that they're champions, right? To celebrate it, to really appreciate this moment. And also, when you graduate, the parish is hiring. So thank you all very much.
Yeah, and from me to you, that's the place I think that we are missing a lot of skilled folk within this parish and throughout and about and stuff like that. So once again, everyone in attendance, give these young students another hand.
Thank you, sir.
I would also, if you guys want to leave right now, we'll take a slight pause for those of you that may want to leave.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Good looking out. Say it, do it.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it all. So we're back in order. And wow, that was very experiencing. Item 1C. Dr. Patrick Walker, Terrebonne Parish Coroner, would like to introduce and ask for support for their Terrebonne Interception and Prevention Service Program.
Yeah.
State your name and your address, sir.
Patrick Walker, 824 Myrtle Grove Drive, Homer, Louisiana, 70360. We're gonna pass out a few leaflets before we get started, all right? And
Same stuff as in the back.
ready? Okay. Well, good afternoon, Mr. President, of the Council, Vice President, and we also don't want to forget the distinguished members of the council, as well as Mr. Badron, Jason, and his right-hand man, Mr. Lorette. It's a pleasure to be here again once more, and I would like to discuss in a little more detail our program called the TIPS program. TIPS stands for Terrebonne Interception and Prevention Services. And this is a program that attempts to address the dual problems we have in our society of mental health and addiction. And I'm sure we all have someone in our family, not even distant family, but close family, who's been afflicted by either one of these conditions or both mental health, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, as well as and or addiction of any kind. And this is a program that will try to sort of bridge that gap between those that are mandated to follow an addictive program and those that are not. So mental health is a big issue in our society. And according to the National Health Alliance, about 8.4% of our population 2 years ago were afflicted by what we call major depressive disorder, MDD. And that's about 21 million people in our society. And those that are 60 or above, the number even gets a little higher. I was talking to one of my patients, and he told me that the only drug that makes him feel better is alcohol. And so we've known that a lot of people who've got mental illness usually medicate themselves with illegal substances as well as illicit or legal prescription substance that they may buy in the street and so on. So this is an issue that As the coroner of Terrebonne Parish, I've been serving as the assistant coroner for about 15 years. And during those 15 years, I've realized that the coroner's office should act as sort of a watchman because we're the ones that actually put a stamp on every psych patient in the parish. Example, if we have a patient comes into the ER, we have two major hospitals in our area. We have Terrebonne General, we have Shelby. If a patient comes in there with a psych issue, we have deputy coroners that follow up with a CEC. The provider in the ED or the ED physician or nurse practitioner will do a PEC, which is a physician's emergency certificate. In the last session, we had a discussion on that. That PEC would allow an individual with a psych condition that would give them at least 72 hours for us to do a CEC so we can commit that individual to a psych facility, whether it is locally or in a different parish, depending on the beds that I have available. So when we do that CEC allows them to be admitted and kept for at least 2 weeks, 15 days, so they can get the treatment they need. However, that period of time is very short. So as a coroner, I think that we need to have a system where we can identify and track and plug these individuals who have dual diagnoses. I want to start with those who have a mental illness and in particular a addictive problem that can basically take their life. And there are certain addictive substances that are more dangerous than others. For example, opiates and fentanyl. The majority of autopsies we do, accidental drug overdose autopsies, are fentanyl overdose. So we want to start with identifying those individuals that we do CECs on, and we want to plug them into an existing system already. We don't want to create the wheel as far as treatment, but we want to plug them into a system like the Behavioral Health Center, START, Compass, outpatient program. There are many programs depending on the level of services that they require. And then we want to track those individuals. We also do OPCs at the coroner's office, which is an order of protective custody. And that allows someone, family member, who thinks that their relative is a danger to themselves or maybe a danger to society, maybe threatening their family members, and they can come into our office and we'll do OPC, and then we will send out law enforcement to probably not really arrest, but to take that person to emergency room. Most of the time it's Shawbear. The problem we have with that is that when an individual comes to Shawbear, the ED physicians ask them if they're suicidal, and of course they're going to say no because they want to go home. And then that person that would benefit from some mental health ends back up into the cycle. So we want to have a system where when someone, individual like that, is sent to the ED, we can get our deputy coroners to do a CEC and then track that person. They will fax. First of all, we get a consent, and we would fax that information to our office, and we would have an individual or two that would follow up on that person that need help. Number three, I've been in touch with the ED medical director, Dr. Brian Roberts at TGMC, and we've had an individual, I'm sure most of us heard of this individual, who came into the ED with an accidental drug overdose. Fortunate for him, he made it. He was discharged and he was dead in less than 24 hours from an accidental drug overdose. We also had another individual, female, in which I personally did a CEC on her at Compass the Monday, and then I personally did an autopsy on her on the Friday. She died from an accidental drug overdose. So these are the kind of individuals that, I would like to track and plug into existing system. Also, a third component of this, when we do an autopsy on an individual, for example, someone who's died from accidental drug overdose, we're going to try to get in contact with the family members. And I'm sure the family members can give us a few names of their friends who they think may need some help as well. And the issue here with these individuals is that you have the drug court system that demands that these individuals get help, but the majority of individuals that end up with accidental drug overdoses do not have any support systems, and they're not going to go on their own. They need someone to guide them and direct them where they can get help. Now, we're not setting out to save the world. If we can save 1 out of 10, 1 out of 99, then we've done our job. And the last thing that really convinced me or touched my soul was those two individuals. That one individual that I did a CC on, and then later on I was doing a autopsy on it, and it really touched my heart. And I've been exposed to mental health illness for all my life. My aunt had schizophrenia, and I did research on biologicals and serotonin and all that stuff. And then I happened to sort of, I guess, accidentally end up being, because I didn't set out to be coroner. I ended up being coroner because my colleague, Dr. Tedesco, gave me a call and asked me if I was interested. So I feel like, this may be my mission. I'm not sure. All of us have a mission. Maybe this may be something that I was called to do. The other thing I want to talk about is the economic benefit to society. And studies have shown by an individual called Johnson and two individuals called Johnson and O'Malley that have done studies on this, and it turned out that we can save $65 for every dollar that's spent on these kind of programs, preventive programs. We all know that prevention is better than cure. And so the program that we're interested in starting is more of a preventative program, so that we don't have to finally see them in the morgue doing a autopsy on them. So I'm here today to ask for your support. Now, we were able to borrow a temporary individual from the parish with the help of Jason and Mr. Lorette. Unfortunately, that individual, she decided to resign, so we don't have anyone now to continue the program. Right? Oh, okay. So, without any further ado, that's the other thing I wanted to. Sorry, I have a in the handout. I have a breakdown to the budget proposal for the TICS program, and we have our intake coordinator, social services, which would be $100,000, office expense $3,000, and of course, it's just about $119,000 that I was hoping to see if we can get through, preferably through the addictive program. All right. So, thank you very much for your time. Hey. Yeah. You want to say? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Hi, Richard Warren, Chief Investigator for the Coroner's Office. I've actually been doing this since the 80s, commissioned in 86. I worked with a lot of coroners at the Coroner's Office. Dr. Walker's actually trying to do preventative. All the years they've asked for money for autopsies, morgue supplies. He's wanting to do something so they don't make it to the morgue. And it's very touching because I've been doing this a long time. So thank y'all for listening to him.
Yeah, so, Dr. Walker?
Yes.
So one of the things we recently had was two agencies that came and talked to us, and the Louisiana Department of Health and the Office of Behavioral Health have created two programs, one for children and one for adults, and they're doing this mobile crisis. Are you familiar with that yet? And I was
No.
wondering how. So they're going out and they will go to in the community into someone's home if they get called to do an assessment of the person to determine whether they need to be hospitalized. They have social workers that are going in the place. There's two staff that goes to every call. And then they will follow up on that person for 7 days to check on them and make sure that they're going to any follow-up or any outpatient program or inpatient program. So I'm just kind of trying to differentiate what you're trying to do from what's they just starting like this year.
Okay, I can
It
comment.
just started like within the last couple months.
Yeah, I'll let her
So-
comment on that. Yeah.
Okay.
So our program is going to be unique because we're just focusing on mental health and addiction. Those individuals that are afflicted with these two conditions, in particular, the addictive behavior that can lead to an accidental drug overdose. These are the kind of folks that usually fall through the cracks because no one falls. For example, I go to campus almost every day and I do the CECs there, and a lot of these individuals are discharged without any follow up. And that brings me to the sad story of the individual that I did a CEC on one day and was dead in 9 days because there was no follow up on her. And we're not trying to address every mentally ill individual, but we're just focusing on these individuals that have a dual diagnosis of mental health and an addictive problem with a deadly substance, namely fentanyl and opiates.
Ms. Chauvin?
Okay, sorry, I have a few questions. When you're talking about, and looking up in this, your breakdown, when you have 100,000 for intake coordinator of social services, is there a way that you can break that down more detailed? And not, doesn't have to be tonight, but break
Yeah.
it down more detailed. But my other question would be, what is your idea of outreach for public education? And are you outreaching more for mental health or are you outreaching more for addiction? Because I know with both of those things, I would assume, and looking into the parts of addiction in that world, that most of those with an addiction have some sort of mental crisis that is happening within their life. So I don't know how you differentiate the dual diagnoses when most of them already have, those two things going on. How are you going to separate that?
Yeah. So basically, we're trying to prevent a crisis. So even before these individuals have a crisis, because we know that studies have shown that the majority of individuals that died from suicide do not tell anyone that they're going to hurt themselves. So it's more of a preventative service. And the reason why I think the coroner's office is in the position to do that, because we come in contact with every single individual that's admitted to the two facilities that we have, psych facilities, that is Compass and Chabert. Those are the only two psych facilities we have. And we come in contact with all of them because we have to do, we also have deputy coroners at Chabert. And we have to do CECs on these individuals. So we have an opportunity to have a personal transaction with them. And I also do, outside of my coroner work, I do evaluation, history and physical evaluations on every single individual that's admitted to Compass. So I'm looking at it from a dual perspective, a coroner and as well as internal medicine doctor. And these are individuals that do not reach out for help. So with a crisis situation, someone calls and you go to their home. But this is like what we call silent killers, like high blood pressure. The most common symptom of high blood pressure is no symptom. And these are the ones that really need help. Most of these addictive individuals do not reach out to help. You have to approach them. And that's what, I'm trying to do.
Okay. So are you looking to work with other programs that are in Terrebonne Parish or within our state? Or are you wanting to do something totally different?
Yeah, sure. So we are not reinventing the wheel. We're not treating. We are plugging these individuals into treatment programs that exist already. And for example, if someone comes in and they're addicted to opiates, depending on the intensity of addiction, that may be an individual that may qualify for Suboxone or methadone or Vivitrol. There are treatments for that. If we have someone that's addicted to, well, that's someone that's addicted to opiates. Those are the ones opiates meaning prescription pills like Norcos, Percocets, and fentanyl, as well as on the street opiates, heroin, exactly.
Okay. I would tell you that I would want to see what your program would look like. I would want to know more about what, you're given a broad view, but I'm not picturing what you're doing different from like a lot of the other programs. It's not that I'm saying that you're not, but I would be more interested to find out on a deeper level, like what your program would look like.
Well, I
And you
mean,
may not be able to answer that
yeah,
tonight.
I can
That's
answer
okay.
that. Yeah, I can answer that. I mean, because this program was envisioned for over a year now. So this is how our program works, right? So individual comes into conference, for example, all right? A CEC is done. So during the CEC, we ask these individuals, which if they're addicted to any drugs. Whenever a patient is admitted to a psych facility, there's always a drug screen done. So we know beforehand what drugs this individual, and a lot of them, of course, lie to you because I look at the screen, the drug screen, and I ask them if they use any illicit drugs. They'll say no, but the drug screen doesn't lie. So individuals who test positive for opiates, fentanyl, whatever, with a psych diagnoses, those are the ones that we will reach out to. We're not going to force them because we can't do that. So it's going to be a voluntary program. So we tell them, and I've tried it. I've asked a few of them if they were interested in the program that we have, and some of them said yes, they'd be interested in a program like that. So we're going to reach out to them and we ask them if they need some help, and if they volunteer, then those are the ones that we will plug into the system that's existing already. We have a system that exists, but the system is designed for those that are interested in doing it or those that have to do it mandatorily by the legal system. But those that, go day to day without any idea, about the drugs that are dangerous and where their lives are going, they're happy because they're getting a high every day. Those are the ones that need intervention. And that's why we call it the interception and prevention program. We need to intercept them, stop them, and educate them and guide them where they can get help.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple questions, and it's Mr. Champagne. He mentioned about two other programs that's out there that that recently started, sort of along the same lines. But specifically, what captured my attention, you said that you guys put a stamp on every psych issue, CEC or whatever. I hope I got the acronym right.
Yeah.
But
That's right. Coronary emergency.
so with that, that's at our local facilities that would intake someone who has a mental issue or something like that. So the coroner's office, that's going through you guys regardless.
That's correct.
Everyone.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I know recently we had I think it was Judge Arsenault. Those guys came in and they're kind of doing something along the same lines, I guess, but sort of on the court side of it with programming and things like that. So
Right.
of the two, you guys would be on the front side of it to even keep them from going to the courts and all that other stuff then, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So our program is a preventive intervention and prevention. So we want to nip it in the bud before it becomes a full blown fruit, flower. And the other thing that's very important is that when individuals go to the emergency room with drug issues like that individual that I spoke of early on, I spoke to the ER director and he told me that the social workers at the hospital are overwhelmed. And so there's no direction, there's no resources, there's no referral for these individuals. And I can tell you, we have a lot of these individuals every day that go to the ED with drug issues. I mean, fortunately for them, they live. And then, like this particular guy was sent home within 3 hours and ended up killing himself.
Okay.
So it's individuals like that because the system's overwhelmed and the hospital doesn't have enough, social workers to refer these patients. A lot of these patients are falling through the cracks. And the same thing happens too at Compass, because I've seen many patients that were discharged without a prescription for the antidepressants and medicine they were taking while they were hospitalized.
Okay. Now, and Miss Chauvin had asked the question, and I kind of have the same kind of question there on the intake coordinator for social services. Would that include that sum there include, say, I don't know if you guys have a social worker on staff, or
No, we don't.
would that be able
Yeah,
to
right.
put
That's-
that social worker to touch
That's correct.
everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm looking to have like a social worker and someone that can do some counseling. Just 2 employees will be able to do the job. One to take care of maybe the day-to-day running of the program, and another one to be actually doing the work, the counselor, or whatever, tracking patients and stuff like that. So, 2 or 1.5 employee can do the job.
Okay, and I did some quick math here, and I'm hoping it's right, but based on your statistics, so if I'm doing this right, since September of '24 and February of this year, it's averaging 75 OPCs a month. I mean, that's based on the numbers that we have here, and you have them broken down. 73, I'm sorry. You have them broken down into 33 mental illness, 18 drugs, and 22 mental drug and mental, sort of a combination drug and mental illness effects. So with the chief investigator, if I can have you come up for a sec, I just want to ask you something there. How long have you been doing this again?
Since the 80s,
Since the 80s.
correct.
And over that period of time, how would you say the epidemic or the problem has grown?
I mean, back in our day, it was 1 or 2 every few months, but I mean, we deal with overdoses, not the mental now, the overdoses, sometimes 2 or 3 a week. Something else, what Doc's talking about on the mental part and the addiction, we go to these houses where the decedent is dead from drugs, and most people in the house has a mental or drug addiction there. We want the resources to be able to talk to them then, get their information and pass it on to these social workers, because it can start right there. They're not seeking us. We want to be able to see them while we're on that death call.
Okay.
But it's really came a long ways. Back in my day, it wasn't that much, but
Okay.
it's a lot right now.
All right.
And Doc's trying to prevent that.
Gotcha. One last thing, from the mental illness and the drug addiction, is there certain age groups that we see it more prevalent, or is it just a wide range? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we have the elderly even doing their drugs too.
wow.
Yes, it's just a wide range.
Okay. All right.
But my main thing is what I'm talking about is we want to try to help people while we're at their house. And because half of them in their house is doing the same drug, and if we could reach out to 1 or 2 of them, we might save one person from being in the morgue, and it would help a lot of families. So, thank you again.
Thank you. Good.
Mr. Babin.
Yeah, again, we all recognize there's an epidemic here. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And from where you went in the 80s to where it is now, it's unbelievable. Along with what Mr. Champagne said, I would like to see if maybe you could have some conversation. Are you speaking with, you talking about Judge Arsenault, and I'm drawing a blank on.
I was talking to Gulf Coast Teaching Family Services
Okay.
and Star Corporation.
Okay, again, maybe if we can start some conversations with them, there could be some collaborative effort there between the two. And then in the meantime, I would like for administration just to kind of start taking a look at this to see where we can go. We all know it's about money on everything. It's not like we can come here tonight and then vote to give you enough money to do your program. We all want to do that, okay? But again, there may be some other things that you can partner with that may help out. And I don't know that. I'm just
Well,
suggesting
I
that.
can answer that question
Sure.
because the coroner's office is different from any other office because with Judge Arsenault, they're dealing with individuals that have gone through another 2 or 3 steps.
Correct.
They're mandated by the judge to do what they're doing. We want to prevent that. So our program is unique because we are the only people in this whole society that have direct contact with mentally ill and addictive individuals on a daily basis. We see them all, and a lot of them are frequent flyers. And we in a position where we not only can prevent it by starting with the CECs and plugging them into the system, but we can also avoid autopsies as well.
Correct.
So we can treat this issue at 3 different levels. OPCs, when they come in, we can address their family members there who may have other issues. When we do the CECs, we can reach out to that individual and probably prevent a death. And on the autopsies, we can speak to the family members who may know friends that I'm sure birds of a feather flock together. So if you have one individual that's died from accidental overdose, that individual can have probably 10, 15 other friends that are doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to insinuate. I think your program is very unique, and I like the fact that you want to start on the front end of this to try to prevent it from happening. I'm only suggesting talking to these other groups because there may be some resources that they may know of for a program like yours. And I'm not saying that Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government is not going to take part in it. That's not what I'm insinuating. You need to knock on every door you can because I think what your program, I think would help out this parish in this state and this country tremendously if we had more Every one of us up here knows somebody that's had a drug problem. There's no doubt about it. Some in the family, some outside the family, whatever. And it's devastating. And again, I applaud you for wanting to start something like this. And I would hope that we can be a participant in it. All right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jason.
Mr. Bergeron.
Yeah, I have a question, then I'll make a few comments, and then Dr. Walker can respond. My first question would be, and let me get this all out, would be what do you see is happening with these people now? And I'll add a few comments that we're currently working with Star Corporation on a 24/7 crisis center. We're in the process of going out to bid to build a new health unit. And I'm just looking at, as it relates to those new facilities coming online, working with the Region 3 health and hospitals, and the conversations we've been having kind of there, kind of going to the conversation of getting together and trying to figure out, we've been working with the Bike Community Foundation, trying to see what we could do to identify these issues and how we address them, maybe even at a regional level, bringing all the different partners to the table. So maybe a continued conversation around that, and again, trying to identify where some of these gaps are. Again, my question would be, what is happening now when one of these cases happens?
Who that's directed to me? Okay. So could you summarize that question again?
Yeah, so in this TIPS program, imagine we're working to fill a need. Are these people not getting the service now? Are these people getting partial services now? When we look at the numbers of the people that are going through the different levels, how's that relating to, I guess, kind of the gap that needs to get filled? Like they don't have social worker availability. Have they
Okay.
gone to the crisis center
Right.
with START? Those kind of questions.
Yeah. Okay. So, So at one end, when an individual goes to the ED with a accidental drug overdose or a drug issue, the hospitals are very short staffed, so they don't have anyone there to plug these into a system where they can follow them up or guide them, give them resources. The same thing happens at the Compass facility. whenever they leave campus, they just fall through the cracks. There's no one to guide them. It's really a social worker there. And as I said, a lot of these patients are discharged without any follow-up medicines. They don't have a psych. There's a paucity of psychiatrists here in our parish. And the majority of psych providers are nurse practitioners. And, they're not very well trained, because they just do a year or two. So that's a different issue altogether. But as far as getting these individuals follow up, because when they leave, there's no psychiatrist to follow them up with. So a lot of them fall through the cracks. So we need a system where we can plug these individuals where they can get the help they need. And that's a big deficiency in the programs that we have throughout the territory. We have whole Louisiana, a big shortage of psychiatrists. There's nobody to treat these patients, to guide them, to counsel them, do anything.
Mr. Hamner?
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question. I'm looking at the statistics you have on the second to last page of your handout. And I'm assuming that you're going to laser in on, you have some that were mental, some that were drug, and then 39 dual diagnosis, drug and mental. I'm assuming you said it before, and I just want to clarify. You're zeroing in on the dual diagnosis.
That's correct. Yes. Right. That's correct.
Yeah, because there are probably, and I would assume there's programs for mental, there's programs for drug abuse.
That's
but
correct.
That combination, that dual diagnosis is what you're trying
Right.
to focus in on.
Right.
So if you've had this in the last 6 months, you would have treated 39 people.
That's correct.
You could have convinced them,
That's
of course,
correct.
to get in the
Yeah.
program.
Sure. Yeah. And that's unique because,
That's significant too.
yeah, because the studies show that the majority of 90% over the last century or so of individuals that committed suicide, 90% of them had dual diagnoses of psych and addiction. So this is a very big issue. And a lot of us don't really address that. We treat one
Or the other.
or the other. And I can tell you now, the last couple of CCs I've done, at least 70% of the individuals have had dual diagnoses. And we're attempting to treat the psych issue, but we're not treating the mental issue. And we know that both of them play hand in hand because a lot of individuals with psych issues, they use illicit substance to treat themselves, and they don't even take the prescription medicine. They're very non-compliant with that. Also, we know that addiction leads to mental illness, depression. And we, as individuals, we all know someone that's afflicted by this situation, but the problem is that a lot of us fall through the cracks and we don't have anybody to guide us. I think guidance is very important. I mean, you can take a horse, a mule to the water. You can't make them drink. And I think that what we have to do is try to encourage these individuals and hold them by the hand and basically show them the dangers of these drugs and let them know the dangers of them. But I feel like if you track them and you plug them into a system, because most of the time you'll give them a referral, they don't go. You write prescription medicines for them, they don't take them because they feel better on the illicit drugs. But if we can, my goal is to not just plug them into a system blankly, but try to identify the best treatment that they would need. For example, if someone is addicted to opiates, then I would plug them into a system where they can get either methadone, Suboxone, or Vivitrol for the treatment of that. If they're addicted to methamphetamines, then that's a different treatment protocol. If they're schizophrenic and the insight and judgment is very impaired, then that's going to be a very difficult individual. And we may not want to focus too much on that individual, but we may want to focus on someone else where the inciting judgment is much better. Because a lot of these individuals, they don't realize that they have a problem, and it's like it's like trying to talk to a narcissist. So some are going to be difficult, but I want to treat the ones like that 30-year-old lady who's got 3 kids, who knows what she's doing, but just needed a little guidance. And if she had had that guidance, I'm sure she might have been still alive today.
And I have one more little follow-up question too, that, of, let's say those 39 individuals are just any individual that you would, with that dual diagnosis, are you focusing in on adults, or would you be able to help minors as well in a program like this?
So the
That's a hard
yeah,
question.
the psych facilities that we have here usually take adults.
Hmm.
So most of them are going to be, 18 years and above. Um, but the majority of them are sort of like 20s, 40s, between 20s and 40s. So,
So again, the need for uh, mental health, substance abuse, or the dual for young people is still not addressed, right? In a program like this.
yes, I mean, so
And I understand. I understand that
right,
it's
yeah,
a,
because I mean we're
you just
limited
don't have
because
the facilities.
yeah, we
I
don't have the
understand that.
facilities. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I have just one other question. Is your program unique? I know we mentioned there's other programs out there that's working doing this, but what makes your program so unique? Is it because what it appears is that you guys are the only ones who are diagnosing with CECs and whatever the other
Yeah.
acronym is.
Right.
So you guys are the only ones that do that portion, though, right?
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
these other programs aren't doing that.
No.
They would go through these programs, or if they were at the hospital or something like that, then you guys would come into play regardless, right?
Right. So
Okay.
yeah, our program, that's why we call it intervention, because we're like the gatekeepers. We're the ones. We're like a security guard. We detect, and deter, and of course we're not going to report. We're going to try to treat. And there's no other program out there like that, because we're the only ones that have the opportunity or the privilege of seeing these psych individuals that come into, whether it's ED or whether it's a psych facility. As I say, we only have 2 psych facilities here, and we have deputy coroners that work out of Chalbert. We have that work out of Terrebonne, and we have that go to Compass every day. So we're the only individuals that come in contact with almost, not almost, every psych patient that's admitted, or not even admitted, because if we do a CEC or PEC at a hospital and we don't think that this patient needs to go to a psych facility, then we can rescind that PEC. But most of the time, if an individual have a PEC, they're going to get a CEC, because a lot of them lie, and we have to sort of take the side of the provider that did the PEC. So we're the only ones that come in contact directly every day with psych individuals, not just psych, but psych and addictive individuals that are admitted to any psych facility in the parish.
Okay, okay. And lastly for me, Mr. Hamner, on his point, since you guys touch all patients that are CEC or OCP, OPCs, what if it was a teenager that's at the hospital? How would that work for you guys in the event it was a teenager?
Yeah. So we do the same process. We would do a CEC and we would make recommendations.
Gotcha.
But the only not issue, the only difference is that that individual has to go to a facility that can accommodate minors.
I just want to say one quick thing.
Okay, my question is going to be to the parish president. You talked about building a mental health building or going out for bid. when we're looking at this, do we have enough? Is there going to be enough counselors, psychiatrists to? Because in talking to Dr. Walker, we have a mental health crisis along with the addiction crisis. So, are we building a building just to have the building, or are we building a building that's going to be able to have enough of what we're going to need to work?
So we have two buildings we're working on. And I say buildings. One is in addition to the existing Star Corporation building, and that's going to be for a 24/7 crisis center. The second is the health unit that we're building right next to the current health unit. But I know we've been in conversations with the Region 3 Health and Human Services people to talk about gaps like this and everything. And so I am definitely kind of curious how all that comes together with the fact that we have two facilities that are going to be going to construction, that we don't
Right.
duplicate resources and that we combine efforts.
So in the health unit, they're going to they can deal with young kids too that are going through this same type of mental issues or addictions or what.
If I'm not mistaken, yes, but definitely would want to confirm.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bassett?
Yeah, and Dr. Walker, again, thank you and your group for what you do. And the only reason I mentioned the other ones to speak to, just to see if we have some commonality there, that possibly they have something that could fit into your program. You have something that can.
I don't think so.
And sir, I'm not a doctor, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think they'll have anything because
I'm just
familiar
looking
with
at it from a practical standpoint,
Yeah.
from a monetary standpoint. If there is a place that we can put things together, then we'd like to do it.
Yeah.
If not, I think a lot of good
I
questions.
mean, I'm
were asked
familiar.
up
I'm
here
familiar
tonight.
with all the programs that we
Good,
have,
good.
and that's why we came up with this program because
Sure.
there's no other program like this.
And again, I think this administration is looking very deeply into things like this, and I know they'll be presenting some things to us as well as us presenting to them. So again, we
And
thank you.
I'll
for
tell
what
you
do.
one thing we can do if we build these facilities, the coroner's office will fill them up because we will, because we even have to send patients out of state sometimes to Mississippi because there are not enough beds available. So, definitely we can work hand in hand because all we're doing is providing the patient personnel, the patient census. We're trying to we'll be able to build up your census. And I think that something like this would really, really have a big impact on the mental health and addictive crisis here in Terrebonne Parish. And by the way, we're like number 2 in the state for drug overdose.
Yes, so finally, I've actually heard a lot of this, and I deal with a lot of this personally, boots on the ground. Number one, most importantly, you're an elected official, actually in Terrebonne Parish. We should support you in your efforts because you are an elected official. One of the things that was very, very important that was said here was the fact that most oftentimes a lot of other agencies have to contact you anyway. So
right.
if you would be the go-to guy, the guy on the, just don't call you when you're on on the 1 yard line. But how we get to where we are right now. Now we need a defensive player to actually come in and stop the other team from scoring.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of times we have a lot of agencies, and to be honest with you, a lot of agencies they're promoting their what they're there for. But my boots on the ground tells me that we have a community problem here. And whatever way that we can actually get these agencies individually and collectively to come together to take care of the problem. It's about when you ask the question about the 80s and how we here in 2025, our numbers are so high, we're using different drugs. And that's something simple that most people don't really look at. I have a problem when a lady calls me and that lady said, well, look, I can't get him to be held up because he's a grown-up. Within 72 hours, or they can check themselves out, and that stops the problem. And I tried to talk to this lady. I said, look, hopefully I can get you some help. The other problem is we don't have beds. We can sit there and I hate to say it this way, but then I'm gonna have to be real because we got a real problem here. It might be somebody coming to work every day that's what we used to call way back in the day a weekend warrior. We don't know.
That's correct. Yeah.
You know, whether, you know, man, it's alcohol or whether it's drugs, they functioning. But then we have a problem. So the other problem, we're talking about all of these agencies, it's a police problem too, because fentanyl. That's a problem right there. We have to stop that. So, you know what I mean? All of these agencies have to get together. So whether we have to split the money up or support you, but one thing that I do know for sure, that we have a community problem here, and we got to actually support those people that actually are in need. And that's all I have to say. It's serious. So whatever we approach this, I know that we have to come in on a different opportunity. We can sit around at some type of table and discuss this and get all of these agents that perhaps were recommended up here sit down, because, you know what I mean, I know we have other business to take care of, but this is a serious matter.
So my approach was to identify to see if there's any money left for the addictive crisis money, fentanyl money, they call it. Because I know a lot of these agencies try to get money for other things, but I want to let you know that not one penny of this money will be coming to my pocket or my employees' pocket. I don't need any money for doing this. This is part of my job as coroner. So every penny that I get will go into the program. And if I have extra money left, I mean, I will provide an audit with you, for you, and we will give you statistics as to how the program is going. And if the program is not working, take the money back or don't fund me any more money. I'm going to be accountable for every penny that we spend this program, because I know within my heart that we can make a difference here. I'm not doing this for recognition. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because there's a need for it. And I feel like I would be aiding and abetting the situation if I didn't try to do something. As a matter of fact, I think that every corner office in the country should adopt a similar program because it just makes sense. In addition to that, I've seen a lot of agencies who come up here and they make up statistics to get money to put in their pockets. We know that. And this program just requires enough money to pay the individuals who are doing it. The coroner's office does not need any money from this to run the coroner's office, because we are doing what we're supposed to do. And you can talk to my staff and see that, everybody is happy because we make things work. We don't ask for money to put in somebody's pocket. Everything, every penny that we get here is going to be spent directly on addressing the mental health and addictive issue we have in this country, not like other agencies that use the money for other things. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for coming out, and we're gonna actually perhaps through this delegation up here and the administration, we're gonna be actually in conversation.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Richard. All right.
Item 1D, presentation by administration on CDBG DR. Yeah.
Motion to go into 6:30 public.
It's been moved by Mr. Babin, second by Ms. Chauvin, that we go to 6:30 public hearing. I don't have a light over here. I'm out.
need a vote, that's all.
Yeah, just, right. Members vote your machine. I don't have a light either.
Oh, his went out. His light went out.
Yeah, 8-0. Motion passed. Yeah. Public, 6:30 public hearing. An ordinance to declare vehicles, tractors, stump grinders, bobcats, mowers from solid waste as surplus to authorizing said items to be disposed of by any illegal approved methods. First call, public. Second call, public. Third and final call, public. Motion closed by Ms. Chauvin, second by Mr. Pledger. In the discussion, members vote your machine. Eight zero. Motion adopted, Ms. Chauvin. Second by Mr. Pledger. In the discussion, members vote your machine. 7-0. Motion adopted. B, an ordinance to amend the 2025 adopted operation budget and 2025 five-year capital outlay budget of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items. One, quality of life, Keep Louisiana Beautiful Initiative, $9,993. CDBG, Disaster Recovery, Fletcher Aviation Workforce Development, $5 million. Federal Emergency Management Agency, Geraldine Pump Station, $9,760,659. We also have CDBG Disaster Recovery, Geraldine Pump Station, $3,500,000. Number 5, Capital Project Water Line Expansion, $2,600,000. Public Works Drainage Debris Removal, Hurricane Francine, $1,351,333. First call, public. Second call, public. Third and final call, public. Motion to close by Mr. Pledger, second by Mr. Babin. Any discussion? Members vote your machine. Motion passes. Motion adopted by Mr. Pledger, second by Mr. Babin. Any discussion? Members vote your machine. Motion passes. Item C, an ordinance to rename Billy Street to Hazel Boykin Street. First call, public. Second call, public. Third, final call, public. Motion to close by Ms. Chauvin, second by Mr. Pledger. Any discussion? Members vote your machine. 8-0. Motion passes. Motion to adopt, Ms. Chauvin, second by Mr. Pledger. Any discussion? Members vote your machine. 8-0. It's been motion to go back in the regular order by Mr. Babin, second by Ms. Chauvin. Any discussion? Members vote your machine. 8-0. We are now on item 6 of the original agenda. Item D, presentation by administration on CDBG disaster recovery money. Mr. Bedrow.
Thank you, sir. So we'll jump right into the second slide here. You can see that we have 14 projects. Slide progress. Okay. You can see we have 14 projects that have been approved. I think we're maybe one or two more than what we approved last time we had a conversation about this. And then from there, we are now, if you go to the next slide, we have 11 projects that we're still waiting for the state to approve. And as we're going through these projects with OCD, we'll have a conversation about trying to do for example, support the seafood. You see the first one that's waiting on state approval, where we were looking to do some grants, do a study, and then do some more grants. OCD is saying we want to change the order of that, where your study is going to be first to understand how you can spend the funding that you have throughout the other two phases. And so as we work with OCD, and of course, this is, going back to some HUD requirements, we were having conversations about when we do grants and that money goes direct to somebody, just that all is set up and done properly. And so as we work through OCD, we're making modifications, and you can actually see the bottom, two of the bottom three, where we had community centers broken out into two projects now, where it's the first project is a study, the second project is implementation. So it's the same funding, but broken out into two. So as we continue to answer questions with OCD and talk about ways that we can make sure this funding gets to the places it needs to, we are still waiting on some approvals, working with OCD. And I gotta say, they have been tremendous to work with. And when we talk about ways and things we want to get done, we're helping us try to troubleshoot and figure out ways that we can make some of this happen. Going to the next slide, you can see that, part of the process that we were going through was we were waiting on a BRIC grant to work on a jail relocation. The BRIC process was canceled through the federal government. So because of that, the only projects that we could submit to OCD is a project that's going to be fully funded. So in this case, we were using some CDBGR funding to make a match to a BRIC grant, because that grant is no longer an option, having to reallocate that funding. So you can see that we've reallocated it to funding our Roots Museum, the Housing and Human Services Annex Resilience Center, and adding more funding to activate the bayou with the dredging. And then from there, we're still working on the fact that we've got extensions till August 31st of 2025 on both the support the seafood industry, due to the fact they want to change the order and do the study first, and the same thing with the community centers. And so when you look at the applications that we're going to submit that are relying on studies, we have to get those studies done, get the input back on those studies, and then turn in the application on how we plan to spend those monies based on how the studies find the best way to spend that funding. So that's what we're currently working through with CDBGDR. We are also working, if you look at the last slide, we're waiting on a public-facing portal to be launched very soon, trying to make sure that the portal has enough information we can see the projects as a whole, and then click down on each project to look at the timeframes. And some of the processes that we're going through, since this is HUD funding, is we have to do like environmental compliance on a building when we're looking to have to go through a purchase. That process is taking 45 to 60 days. So you go through that environmental compliance process. After that process, you can then move to the appraisal process and work on getting a original appraisal, and then a new appraisal, and then a review appraisal. So there are steps that we're having to go through in these processes. And even if it's something related to like small business grants, we're still having to make sure we take each step and go through all the requirements. Because again, this all is funding that we're going to have to spend and they get reimbursed for. And if we don't follow the steps, if things aren't procured to normal procurement standards, then there could be some issues. And then every project that we're working on has to have a 5-year requirement of maintaining. So if something would go 3 years down the line, and there would be an issue where if we're working with an organization or group and they're not able to fulfill that need, then the parish has to step in and fulfill that need. And if we don't fulfill that need, or if the rules aren't followed as it relates to HUD, then that funding would have to be returned. And if it's a project for $4 million, it would be the entire $4 million that would have to be returned. So we're having to make sure we dot our I's, cross our T's, and do everything we need to, working with our consultant to make sure we're meeting all the requirements and getting this flowing. And that's the update that we want to provide. Welcome to answer any questions that anybody might have. And we'll continue to, this stuff happens every day. I got a spreadsheet that, we send something in, get a question, and it's making progress every day. And, we're actually got a few projects that we've started to kick off, and that's why we want to make that public portal available, work on our consultant, so people can see the status of the projects that we started.
Any questions? I have one.
Okay.
The extension to August 31st, does that only apply for those that you have to do the study for?
In particular for those two, yes.
Yeah,
'cause
okay then, yeah.
They said we got to get that study done since we get the study and that study could determine you want to do these kind of projects or those kind of projects or this area, that they'd want us to turn in an application to make sure that that meets the requirements. Again, it's all resiliency, economic development, and working with low to moderate income areas.
And okay, I'm gonna get to Kim. All of this money this 117 million that assumingly is there, it has to be spent by, all of this process has to be done by what?
November 2027.
November 2027. Ms. Kim.
When you're talking about a study for support the seafood industry, what does that entail? I mean, I get, everybody despises the word study.
Right. Me, myself included, by the
Okay.
way. I like calling plans.
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. So can you,
I would say working with the groups that, everything from the communities that are primarily used in these industries, looking at conversations around, what licenses we have. I know we've had a decline in licensing for commercial fishermen, working with Sea Grant, just working with the shrimp task force. I would say reaching out to every group that has the opportunity for us to help ensure that, whether it be something like a market or cold storage or assistance for sorting machine and plate freezers, that we go through that entire process, as I've seen through the different tiers. So somebody that might have one vessel, somebody that might have a dock, somebody that maybe used the process. I think we go through and get everybody involved. And that's what, when you look at our consultants and who we work with to do these studies, that we're gonna hire people that professionally go out and gather this information. And we wanna make sure that everybody that needs to have a voice in this process has that voice in the process.
okay. So I would think that wouldn't it behoove us to look at past studies and just take it from there? Like, I'm looking at this $500,000.
Don't see how that wouldn't hurt.
Right.
Again, just taking everything that we have, again, keep in mind through this whole process is related to recovery from Ida,
Mhm.
right? So there's going to be a conversation around who was affected by Ida, are those people still in business? And then you start looking at the other opportunities where we have the small business grants, we have the incubator. Like, there might be a few different opportunities
Right.
of how we could take people through. When I look at the small business grants, the thing that I feel is real important that we do as a parish, and this is where I feel like the rubber meets the road, when we're looking at, okay, we're going to open up this grant process, I think it behooves us to make sure we understand in the small business grant process what the biggest pain of a business is, and help them work to fund to address that pain, instead of going, here's some funding, good luck, right? So working with structured planning, working with TITA, working with the incubator, and then using some resources to help make sure any funding that we're working through with people, they have, if somebody's not proficient in accounting, that maybe we do some skilling there, or anything that we can do for not only using like students to consult, where you get some hands-on training that can work next to professionals to try to address so many different needs through one of these programs, right? Where we're skilling, we're sharing information, and we're educating. So I think,
Okay.
and again, to go through this process, we're going to say, okay, we're kicking this project off. Let's get everybody to the table that we think needs to be a part of this,
Right.
and work through. And again, this is companies that have done stuff like this before.
So I would hope that as we do these type of things, that you would be asking for business plans if they're even sustainable. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about just the seafood industry. I'm talking about
Mhm.
the incubator part, the museum, the everything that has to do with this. That you have to have a sustainable
Right.
plan that you will be able to function without any more money coming your way. And if we don't, then what do we do?
So depending on the type of program. So if we're working with us, I'll use Fletcher as an example, the aviation program. In that case, it's part of the application. When we say we're going to do small business grants, we're going to do the incubator, that's where we're going to be able to turn around to our community and say, okay, this is the process for getting a small business grant or going through the incubator. And again, helping them with TITA and Fletcher and CoLab and all these different organizations that we can help make sure that they have those resources. Working with Fletcher, working with even maybe in the school district, like with the VOTEC schools. I mean, just so many different opportunities. And look, one of our projects is going to be helping relocate the VOTEC, the Lewis Miller School, to the old Fletcher building, right? So there's some skilling. Then you start looking at, we got the STEAM center. A lot of things kind of overlap, and I think we could definitely kill multiple birds with one stone.
That's all good. I'm just hoping that we can afford the insurances that's gonna go with these buildings and different things that we're looking at.
Yes, ma'am. And that is part of, when you look at the budget that was being put together for the application, there is an operating conversation, operating costs for a period of time. And again, that these projects can be maintained for that 5-year period. And then I'll give another example. When you look at the weather stations, right? One of the things that we've seen with our residents and insurance is conversations with insurance companies that they hadn't been able to identify sustained winds over a period of time for a storm. So the weather station project is going to be just us putting weather stations throughout the parish to give you some certified data.
Right.
It's a completely different project than what we're trying to do with the small business grants. So
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Babin.
Yeah, just too quick. The studies are mandated by CDBG-DR. They're not mandated by Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government. It's not something that we want to do. It's something that we have to do to even be able to get the money, all right? So that the 2027 date is not completion, it's actually construction has to be started by that date, or completion has to be done.
money spent. Money spent by 20.
Total money, if a project's $20 million, that project has to be completed by the end of 2000. Is that in fact even feasible on some of these things?
We actually just had a conversation with OCD and having that, like the fact that applications aren't approved yet. We're still pushing through that process. Nothing official, but as we
They
look
may
at
extend that
a
date.
plan and a timeline, that's one thing that we'll be able to lay out on this public portal is you're going to see all the projects listed and what that timeline looks like. And it's going to be taking it all the way from, if you haven't compliance and environmental, design, construction, and final completion. So it's going to lay all that out. And as we're having these conversations about, this has got to meet what the application says. That's one of the things that we're going through now, as we say, hey, we have to do this study. And when I liked it, what it's named with both the stormwater master plan and the wastewater master plan, those two are just plans that
Right.
break out how much, when we look at adding a neighborhood, adding a street, adding a certain area of the parish to the sewage system, what you got to do on both the front side and the back side, that's going to give us those numbers so that we can then go after funding. And then we're able to do one of the projects because it is a low to moderate area.
Good.
So
And I agree with Kim. We need to put O&M in everything, okay? For too long, we have not been putting operation and maintenance and things, and it comes back to haunt us down the line. And who has to suffer? Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, which means the people do, all right? So as long as that's built into the system, then I'm happy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we had a town hall, and one interesting question. Everybody's not going to agree with something, and it's just like the shrimping industry. The guy asked a legitimate question. You know what I mean? And said, "Well, look, he don't have anything to do with shrimping or anything like that." And his idea was he thought about how the money can be spent. Roads and bridges. Some people think it's houses. You know what I mean? He didn't think that if it was money to come to the parish, why should we actually subsidize people that have private businesses? You know what I mean? So even that has to be looked at also. I just got a light from Mr. Pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Caught me there, well. Excuse me.
I thought I could talk longer.
Along the lines of Ms. Chauvin there, I really like the fact that we have the community centers and resilience centers implementation submitted projects, and I can assure you, I can think of a place to put one, and I guarantee it'll sustain itself. I got some people that's gonna sustain it, I guarantee you that. Thank you.
Any more lights? Okay, we're moving on then. Thank you for the presentation. Okay. E, resolution approving the holding of elections in Fire District number 9 of the Parish of Terrebonne, State of Louisiana, on Saturday, October 11, 2025, to authorize continuation of a special tax therein. Moved by Mr. Babin. Second by Mr. Champagne. Any discussion? Members, vote your machine. 8-0. Motion passed. F, pursuant to section 2-98 of Parish Code, Parish President Jason W. Bergeron submits his appointment of Mr. Hillary Doman to serve as Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government's Quality of Life Director and requests ratification at said appointment in 2 weeks at the April 20th, April 30th, 2025 regular council meeting. Moved by Mr. Babin, second by Mr. Champagne. Any discussion? Member vote your machine. 8-0. Motion passed. Item number 2, public wishing to address the council in accordance with section 2-07E of the Terrebonne Parish Home Rule Charter. The public will be heard at and can speak for 3 minutes on any matter related to the parish government without discussion or question, and any matters and non-agenda items. I have no speaker cards. We've actually went through the 6:30 public hearing. We will now be on item number 3, committee reports. We have budget and finance. Mr. Pleasure.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh, you gotta put his light on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee held on Monday, April 14, 2025, and I have 2 public hearings. Number 1, consider the introduction of an ordinance to adopt millage rates for tax year 2025 with no roll forward, and calling for a public hearing on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Item number 2, consider the introduction of an ordinance to amend the 2025 adopted operating budget and 2025 5-year capital outlay budget of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items. Item number 1, FEMA Dunn Street Downtown Culvert Replacement, $525,000. Item number 2, Airbase Park, $250,000. Item number 3, Hollywood Road Roundabout at Valhai Boulevard, $250,000. Item number 4, Schriever Overpass, $250,000. Item number 5, Main Project Road, $250,000. And item number 6, Houma Police Department, JAG, $16,744. And calling a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m.
It's been moved by Mr. Pleasure that we accept the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting held on 4/16/2025. Second by Mr. Amity, I think.
Hamner.
Mr. Hamner. Mr. Hamner. Members, vote your machine. Motion passes 8-0. B, Community Development and Planning Committee. Ms.
Chauvin,
Chauvin.
I got you. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Community Development and Planning Committee held on April 14th, 2025, and I had 38 condemnation hearings and 1 public hearing. Calling a condemnation hearing on the following: residential mobile homes, residential structures, accessory structures, and commercial structures on April 29th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. 5873 Grand Caillou Road, 267 Lower Country Drive, 801 Grand Caillou Road, 106 Andron Street, 306 Grace Street, 1713 West Main Street, 212 Acock Street, Unit, 204 Lincoln Street, 123 Donald Drive, 313 Grand Caillou Road, 204 Oakshire, 5425 Bayou Black Drive, 4769 Bayou Side Drive, 4749 Grand Caillou Road, 5574 Highway 56. Okay, it doesn't have the address of Roberta Grove. Roberta Grove Boulevard. I'm missing the numbers. Missing the numbers on Hialeah Avenue. 6619 Shrimpers Row, 7477 Shrimpers Row, 6772 Shrimpers Row, 5532 Highway 56, 510 Woodside Drive, 1921 Highway 55, 410 Leona Street, 1134 Berg Street, 1105 Division Avenue, 1801 East Tunnel Boulevard, 4079 Grand Caillou Road, 5052 Alsea Street, 8669 Main Street, 204 Judith Street, 6806 Shrimpers Row, 523 Ogeron Street, 5510 Stella Street, 5010 Bayou Drive, 216 Presco Isle Drive, 1215 Highway 55, 121 Cypress Grove Street. I need the numbers for 16 and 17. It's not in here. Hold up. Wait. Let me see if this is it. Wait. Yeah. Can't. This is not it. This is not it. Yeah. This is not it. Yeah, I just need the numbers for 16 and 17.
It's gonna be, actually, a couple of weeks ago.
It's Roberta Grove Boulevard, and that's the one with Hialeah Avenue, because there's an. Okay, 402 Roberta Grove Boulevard and 304, you said? 304.5 Hialeah Avenue. And the public hearing, giving notice of intent to adopt an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the parish of Terrebonne so as to rezone from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Two Family Residential, 196 Peachtree Street, Houma, Louisiana. Judy Carter applicant, and calling a public hearing on said matter for Wednesday, May 28, 2025 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Kim Chauvin, second by Mr. Hamner, that we accept the minutes of the Community Development and Planning Committee. Any discussion, members, vote your machine. Motion passes 8-0, and we appreciate Ms. Candace Malden. Item C, Public Service Committee, Mr. Wazan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify minutes of the Public Service Committee held on Monday, April 14th, 2025, and I have 5 public hearings. 1, consider the introduction of an ordinance to authorize the leased property located at 7842 Main Street at the corner of Main Church and Boulanger Street, Houma, Louisiana, 70360, parcel number 19175, from property owners. Authorize the parish president to execute any and all documents necessary to lease property and to provide other matters relative thereto, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. 2, consider the introduction of an ordinance to amend Article 2, Chapter 18 of the Terrebonne Parish Code, Section 18-30, to prohibit vehicles over 15 tons on East Woodlawn Ranch Road from Kynes Road to LA 56, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. 3. Consider the introduction of an ordinance to authorize the parish president to execute a cooperative endeavor lease agreement on behalf of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government between TPCG and Bayou Region Arts Council to lease space in the TPCG-owned building at 7910 Main Street, Houma, Louisiana, 70360, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m.
It's been motion by Mr. Wazan, second by Mr.
He's not finished.
Is there? You got 5? Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 4, consider the introduction of an ordinance to enact Article 1, Chapter 18 of the Terrebonne Parish Code, Section 18-10, to create regulations for private street signage, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. 5, consider the introduction of an ordinance to amend Article 4, Chapter 18 of the Terrebonne Parish Code, Section 18-88, to create a 3-way stop at the intersection of Regency Lane and Regal Row, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Moved by Mr. Wazan, second by Ms. Kim Chauvin, that we accept the minutes of the Public Service Committee held on meeting held on 4/16/25. Members, vote your machine. Motion passed 8-0. Item 4, streetlights. As per Mr. Babin, second by Mr. Pleasure. Voting machines. 9-0. Item 5, appointments to various boards and commissions and committees and commissions. Item A, Terrebonne Parish Tree Board, one expiring term, 2 vacancy due to resignation. Ms. Linda Berger expresses her interest in being reappointed. Ms. Terry Louvier submits application and resume for consideration. Ms. Lacey Brightenstein submits application and resume for consideration.
Mr. Chair, there's a error in that it's actually 2 expired terms and 1 vacancy due to a resignation. We were able to verify that with our council clerk. So I'm gonna make a motion to open, close, and reappoint Ms. Brazier and appoint Ms. Louvier and Ms. Bridenstine.
Second.
As the motion to open, close, and appointment, reappoint Ms. Brugier and to appoint Ms. Louvier and Ms. Breitenstein by Mr. Amity, second by Mr. Champagne. Any discussion? Members, vote your machine. Motion passed 8-0. B, Board of Zoning, Board of Zoning and Adjustment, 1 vacancy due to resignation. Board appointment would be an alternate member. Mr. Aero Wolf submits application and resume for consideration. Open, close, and appoint by Mr. Babin, second by Mr. Pleasure. Members, vote your machine. 8-0. Motion passed. C, Recreation District Number 10 Board, 1 expiring term on 4/23/25. Mr. John Basco expresses his, yeah, on the west side. Expresses his interest to be reappointed. Mr. Jimmy Verrett Jr. submits application and resume for consideration.
Close and vote.
Open, closing a vote by Mr. Babin, second by Ms. Chauvin. Roll call, vote, Mr.
Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Hamner, Mr. Babin,
Basco.
Ms. Chauvin,
Basco.
Basco, I'm sorry.
Mr. Trusclair, Mr. Pleasure, Mr. Harding,
Basco.
Mr. Voisin. 9 for Basco, 0 for Verret.
Congratulations. Is in the audience? No? Okay. All right. Item 6, monthly engineering report, T. Baker Smith, Milford and Associates, as per. Item number 7, vacancy in various boards. Vote.
Mr. Trosclair.
Okay,
Danny moved it, Kim seconded it.
okay. Monthly reports. Vote. Members, vote your machine. 8-0. Item 7. Vacancies in various boards and committees and commissions. A, Recreation District Number 1 Board, expiring term 5/25/25. Recreation District Number 2-3 Board, 3 expiring terms on 5/31/25. Recreation District Number 5 Board, 1 expiring term. Fire District Number 5 Board, 1 expiring term. Coastal Fire Protection District Board, 1 expiring term. Downtown Development Corporation, 5 expiring terms, each representing the following entities: 2 representing the Parish Council, 1 representing the Chamber of Commerce, 1 representing the Historical Society, and 1 representing the Downtown Merchants. Talk, 3 expiring terms, 5/31/25, each representing one of the following NAACP, Talk members, and Chamber of Commerce. Announcement, Parish President.
Yes, I want to wish everybody a safe and good Friday and happy Easter. And then on Saturday, April 25th, they're going to have the Special Olympics Torch Run and the Bioregion Arts Council fundraiser on both that day. So look for more information on our Facebook page and website, and hope everybody has a great one.
Thank you. Mr. Babbitt.
Again, I'd just like to echo that. I want to have everyone to have a holy and happy Easter.
Mr. Pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to invite everybody out to Mechanicville this weekend or Saturday. They're gonna have sort of a big family reunion, they call it, just for the community. And it's everybody south of the Intercoastal, from Chauvin, Smith Ridge, Dularge, all those places. Come on over to the Mechanicville gym. I'll be out there frying fish and having a good time with everybody. So that's it.
Ms. Chauvin.
Okay, just to announce that, pay attention to the Facebook page. We have a lot going on at the South Regional Library. This Saturday, I know that they have a Minecraft origami going on at 2 p.m., but we always put out the calendar for the library, and that library is super, super busy. They have been putting out so many things, so become a part of it. Get your kids there. Thank you.
Motion joined by Mr. Babbitt, second by Ms. Chauvin. Yeah, press your lights. It's been a nice meeting. Thank you.